other side of the ball, look, NIU's defense has played well to this point. Through 2 games, if we look at total offense numbers now through 2 games, 217 yards allowed at under 4 yards of play to Holy Cross, which it's an FCS team, but still, that's nice. And then 340 yards allowed to Maryland at 5.3 yards per play. Huge yards per play is not great. It's pretty mediocre, but again, they held them to 340 yards, which some of that is more their offense stayed on the field a ton, which helped them out. Even though, and like I said, they want to limit possessions, but the defense has played pretty well. And when you look at this team defensively, they've got some talented guys on the defensive line. Roy Williams at defensive end is a good player. They also bring back who's the other? Jelani Williams is the other defensive end who's a talented guy. They've got a good group there on the edge who can make some plays. And then the linebackers do a good – so they got some guys who can create some disruption up front. They got some guys who can beat blocks, and they did that against Maryland. Now, Maryland's offensive line is not very good, but, they held Maryland in that game to only 86 rushing yards on 3.1 a carry. They did a really good job of stopping Maryland's run game. And they didn't get a sack, so it was very much limiting what Maryland was able to try to do on the ground. Long run of 11 yards for Maryland. Yeah, they were just not able to get much going. So this is a defensive front that has some pieces. The linebackers are a part of that as well. They've got some linebackers who do a good job of getting downhill. Quinn Erlweiler, number 32, is a really good player. Philip Makarowski, sorry, I just totally botched that name. But that's another guy. Those guys do a good job of getting downhill and fitting the run. So they're a well-coached defense. And I think as a whole, they do a good job of rallying to the ball and tackling. Not a ton of missed tackles, not a ton of run after catch. There's some. Maryland hit a few of those plays against them because you just got better athletes. But they do a good job of just keeping everything in front of them. I thought their secondary, which was a group I was really concerned about for them coming into the year with all they lost, they've played solid coverage through 2 games, but I will say Maryland was able to find some opportunities through the air. 254 yards passing, 53% completion, 7.1 yards per attempt. So not like a huge day passing, but they missed on a few opportunities as well. There were a few plays that they could have had. Now, I will say this. NIU has not faced a receiving core that's as dynamic as what State has when you talk about Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans. Those are 2 guys that can make plays in the passing game that NIU has not seen yet. So when we talk about their secondary's done a pretty good job holding up in coverage, they gave up 1 explosive passing play down the field. There was 1 big run after catch. They threw a shallow cross. Maryland threw a shallow cross to the tight end, and the guy was able to run up the sidelines for a big gain. And then there was a 4th down in the 4th quarter where the quarterback just had all the time in the pocket. Deep coverage got mixed up, let a guy run free downfield, and they hit him for what ended up being the game-sealing touchdown.
Yeah.
That happened, but by and large, they've been able to mostly not allow the stuff down the field. Maryland doesn't have receivers who run like Brennan Thompson and Anthony Evans. Those guys find ways to get open down the field. So I think if you're State, being able to have a chance to threaten them with the explosive plays is a big deal. And look, I don't know if State's going to be able to just line up and run the ball as effectively as maybe they would like to. We haven't seen it with consistency yet from State. And I do think NIU's got some good – I think NIU wants to try to stop the run. And I think – that's probably going to be a lot of what NIU tries to do philosophically. I think they're going to try to stay. We want to take away the run game from State and not let them be able to control it. And I think if you're State, you say, okay, cool. See if you can cover Brennan Thompson because we think you can. And you got to give Blake Shapen time in the pocket, but I think you do have a chance to hit him for some big plays. One other note on their defense here that I do think is worth noting, and this kind of goes counter to what I just said, but again, it's a different team. NIU's defensive coordinator was at Arkansas State the last few seasons. And last year, his defense, which was terrible, faced Old Dominion. And if you guys remember my Southern Miss preview, Old Dominion runs this offense. They are running the Bryles veer and shoot system there in the Sun Belt. Last year against Old Dominion, Arkansas State's defense, and again, this is the same play caller who will be calling the defense on Saturday for NIU. They gave up 40 points, 549 yards, 406 rushing yards at 7.8 yards per carry. They didn't throw it a lot, but it was 9 of 12 for 143 yards. Now, their quarterback for Old Dominion was a big part of the run game. That's obviously not going to be the case when we talk about Blake Shapen. and that had a big factor. But the DC saw this offense last year, and he didn't do a very good job defending it. So I think how that trend. Now again, he's got better athletes defensively at Northern Illinois than he did at Arkansas State. They got they're a better coached defense overall. But the track record's there. So, I mean, I think if you're State, you're going to have the chance for some explosive plays. And I think hitting those explosives, to me, that is the key. It kind of goes counter to the ball control possession thing. And I apologize to you because I know I'm just going here. But
No, you're good.
I know, NIU, they want to slow down the game and they want to limit scores. They want to limit possessions, keep this thing low scoring to give themselves a chance. I think if you're State, you want this thing to go as fast as possible and hit as many big plays as you possibly can down the field and hit those explosives because they can't keep up with that. So I think if you're State, you need to hit those big plays down the field. And if you do that, I think your offense is going to be in for enough of a big day to win comfortably.
Is it me, or does it seem like State is going to have to? I don't know what they're going to want to do defensively in this game completely, but don't you feel like you want to up the tempo to show Northern Illinois, hey, you can't just kill all that clock. Like, you can't just keep running the ball and letting that clock drain out because we're going to come at you. Like, do you send a crap ton of pressure and just like amp it up a little bit more? Because, like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure State, through these last couple of weeks, we've seen them do that a little bit, but like you said, man, Northern Illinois wants to eat up the clock and keep their opponent on the bench. Like that quarterback, that team, they want to keep shaping and State on the bench this weekend. And they might be able to do that for some of this game. But I think that's where, in my opinion, what I see is that defense has to get a spark. They have to start fast. They got to bring the pressure. I'm not saying you blitz every play or anything like that. I don't know, but you got to show that, hey, this run game ain't going to work for you all night long. Because obviously, Northern Illinois, even though they want to do that, they still want to find a way to win this game. You take away the run game, you're going to have to make them throw the ball and play pretty quick.
Yeah, I think when you talk about State's defensive approach, I do think it is you don't let them put together long drives. I don't think you play conservatively. I think you try to slow. They want to slow the game down. They chew up clock. I think if you're State, you speed them up and you force them off the field quickly. If you get burnt for an explosive play here or there, fine. Do not let them take this thing down slow and kill clock because you're letting them get 3-4 yards a play over and over and over again because that's all they're going to be able to do offensively. When it comes to State's offense, you talk about do you want to strike fast? I think you do. And there is the counterbalance to it because if you are playing aggressively on offense, there is the chance of, hey, we hit a quick 3 and out and you've possessed the ball for 15 total seconds of game clock, because
right.
you go incomplete, run, get up, snap the ball quickly, and then it's another incomplete pass. Now we're punting. That's tough because now you're getting the ball right back to the opponent. But I think if you're State, as long as you are not letting them eat up the clock when it comes to their own offense for NIU and you're getting them off the field, this is like if you're State, to me, you want as many possessions as possible in this game. That's kind of the mindset here. If you're State, you are trying to give yourself as many chances as possible in this game. And I talk about chances, like the chances want to be for NIU. But if you're State, you were saying the more plays that we run, the better. Like NIU is not going to be able to hold up, and we want to force NIU offensively. I know it kind of goes counterintuitive because they want to go slow. They want to run more plays on offense because they want to eat up clock, but you're trying to get them off the field quickly. It's sort of the idea that I'm getting off here. So I think time of possession sort of be damned in this one. If you're State, you're looking to hit the kill shots early and often, and that's kind of been like State's been a big play scoring team. All 3 games they have scored a touchdown of 40-plus yards on the first drive. They have hit a big play touchdown in all 3 of these games to open up the season. I think you're trying to do the exact same thing in this one. If I'm all good, if they want to take a deep shot down the field first play of the game, go for it. Go right ahead. I don't care about handing it off and trying to get the run game going. Go for a kill shot early and try to get this thing completely out of hand because that's the other thing here. If you're State, like NIU's chances that you let them hang around. This is not a team that can keep pace with you. You try to go for the kill shot. You try to put it out of reach quickly. And then if you do that, I think you're winning this game comfortably.